This tonight's webinar is on a topic that truly differentiates the most successful dental sleep practices from all of the others. And with that said, it's one of our least popular topics that we cover each year, which is really unfortunate. But kudos to you for being here because you are going to get tips and techniques that, if you put them into practice, will actually set you apart from everyone else out there that's doing this. So, the first thing I want to do is introduce our esteemed panelists tonight. First, we've got Dr. Suzanne Tai, uh, my favorite dancing dentist. Dr. Ty practices down in Dallas and has a sleep only practice. She also is coming fresh off of a poster presentation at this year's AADSM meeting. And
And
and she was recently selected to provide a TEDx presentation. So, everyone, let's raise the roof, give it up. Dr. Suzanne Tai, one question, Dr. Tai, what's
yes,
your
sir.
least what's your least favorite food in the world?
It's gonna be, I eat everything, like everything, but actually it's lamb.
Okay, you hear that, Elias? No lamb.
What? Wait, what? What?
However, I went to your house party at Transform and Ellis's lamb was amazing. After I said that, I thought, oh, yeah. But
You
his lamb
ate
was
it.
fantastic. It was really good. But usually lamb is the least.
All right.
But I eat
Well,
everything
thanks
else.
thanks for being here, Dr. Tai. And then we've got Michael Cohen, who is the founder and CEO of Awaken to Sleep. Michael has been involved in dental sleep medicine for a long time, in sleep medicine as a whole for even longer. And Michael is one of the most adept communicators I have ever known. And while not a clinician, Michael's company actually trains and coaches some of the most successful dental sleep practices in the country. And Michael, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Man, I was ready for the food question.
Me too.
Oh, Howard's End.
Don't know what that is, but I'm not going to watch it.
Shouldn't.
Thank, thanks for being here, Michael. And then we've got Licia Crawford. Licia is the co-founder and CEO of Go to Sleep Center for CPAP Alternatives. They have three offices dedicated to oral appliance therapy here in the Phoenix Valley. And Licia laughs way too loud in movie theaters, and it is embarrassing.
It's true.
Licia,
Yeah.
worst movie you've ever seen?
Okay. I'm gonna say we went and saw Lilo and Stitch and walked
Terrible
out.
movie.
Horrible movie. And the whole time I'm thinking liver and onions, liver and onions, liver and onions. That's my least favorite food, in case you
Yes,
guys are
yes.
wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
can't believe
thanks
you
for
put
being.
that picture up. Seriously,
Yeah,
Jason, out of
believe
all
it.
the pictures.
Believe it.
I love
All
that
right.
picture.
A few housekeeping matters before we dive in. Down at the bottom of the screen, there is a chat feature. Type your questions in there. All of the questions that will guide tonight's conversations were questions that you submitted at registration. So we're really going to be talking about the things that you told us you want to talk about. But I'm sure as we move through the conversation, new questions will arise. So please type those questions down there. Then, if you stay on until the end, and we'll end at 8 Central, stay until the end, and you will receive your CE certificate via email in the next 48 hours. If you don't have it by this time on Thursday, shoot me an email, let me know, and we'll get it to you. However, before you do that, please check your spam. Also, I want to reiterate, you will receive it in the next 48 hours. So please don't email me tomorrow and tell me that you haven't gotten your CE certificate. If you don't have it by Thursday night, then send me an email. And that's especially important for the 2 or 3 of you that when you registered said that you were only here for the CE. I'm really thankful that my life's work has been deduced to awarding you CE. And most important is that you take action on what you learned tonight. These panelists, this is what they do all day, every day. This is the focus of what they do all day, every day. And they're sharing it openly with you. And it's critical that you take this and you put it into practice. If not, it's all for naught and you're just a more interesting dinner companion. Take this, use it. It will help you treat more patients and communicate and develop more meaningful relationships. So without further ado, let's dive in. So we're going to start out with there were a couple of people asked some version of this question, but what they really wanted to know is, and we'll start with you, Suzanne, if we can, but how do you establish some rapport and start to build trust and credibility before the consult?
Before the consult. So I actually, and I'll be speaking about this, but I actually send them a video before they even show up to our consult. And it's an introduction of myself and talking about how they've done the sleep study. So congratulations on that. We're going to be discussing the sleep study, what's important to them, why they're here, and we're going to help them find a solution to their problem, or we're looking to find what treatment option will best help them. And so I do a video prior to them even coming. And when they get here, then I also have another video that plays and it kind of discusses what we're going to do as well and some of the main common comorbidities and how that's related. And then my team jumps in, they start asking all the important questions. And once they get that, then they come to me and I will literally look on paper and I will circle important things that I want in my head to discuss with the patient that I know I don't want to forget. And so when I walk in, this seems so normal and so, I hear this all the time, but walk in with a smile, direct eye contact, give them a firm handshake. It's like the handshake, it's like there's electricity that goes between me and the patient. All of a sudden, that's what I feel. And then I sit face to face and I smile. And that's where my chameleon mode comes in. If he's serious, I change to serious. If she is like older lady, and then I change to older lady, sweet. I'm a chameleon with them. That's how I start off the whole conversation. I say, welcome to my practice. Thank you so much for being here. And, I introduce myself that way.
Fantastic. So you're doing these things with the videos and that initial outreach that are already building a foundation, setting some expectations, letting them know what to expect, and by doing that, they're not just kind of walking in cold, going, "I don't know why I'm here," right?
Yes, exactly.
Got it. And Michael, I mean, you're working with practices all over the country. What have you seen? Some kind of best practices to do that, to build some credibility and trust beforehand.
I would say a couple of things specifically related to the team. If the team is communicating clearly what the next expectations are for that, or what the expectations are in that next appointment, the patient doesn't come in surprised. If they're going home with a test and it's going to be read and they're coming back for results, doctor's going to go over all of the results with you, talk to you about the treatment options that you have, and answer any of your burning questions about how you slept that night and in general. Just a one-liner like that really helps them understand what they're walking into, how long they're going to be there, that kind of thing. The other one is when the doctor's not around and the staff is in the room either scanning the patient or setting up the appointment for the next time they come in, being able to have their approved, not canned, but pre-scripted one-liners about why they're so excited that they get to come back and see Dr. Tai. Like, you may not know this, but Dr. Tai is specialized just in this because she's so passionate. Lots of the physicians in this area know her and meet with her regularly. Something like that, where the team is already singing the praises of the doctor, so the doctor doesn't have to walk in and have their arrogance or their credentials on the wall or on their shoulders. The team has already puffed them up for that, so they can be humble, like what Suzanne just said, and spend time connecting with the patient.
Excellent. So once again, though, I mean, what I'm hearing is setting expectations, or at least with the first part of what you shared. Licia, what about yourself?
Well, I'm going to echo Michael as far as, the team kind of setting those expectations. Little jealous of Susan. She's, sending out a video. We haven't done that, so we might steal that from you. I think it's a great idea.
Do.
Yeah. Yeah. But I same, I want the patients to know that, how long they're going to be in the office, because the last thing you want to do is have the time set aside for them and then say, well, I don't have time for this, because we do a consult and we go straight into taking scans that same day. So we want to make sure that they're prepared to spend the time. And, when they come in, a lot of times I hear, wow, you guys are great over the phone. You wouldn't let me, not make this appointment. You guys were diligent with getting me in. We appreciate that. And each office, I have 3 different offices, and, each front office has a different vibe or, personality, but they're all, quite caring. One's a little bit more thorough than, is more kind of professional, but he tends to get the patients like, boy, that guy, he knows what he's talking about. So he gets a lot of compliments, and then some of them are sweeter. But when they come in and meet me, it all goes out the window. No, we start with humor, so I same with you, Suzanne, no matter if they're coming in grumpy, if they're coming in, whatever the situation is, I'm like, hello,
Yeah.
and disarm them immediately with, a smile and a friendly face.
So smiling and mirroring their tone, their demeanor.
Well, if they're
Yeah.
grumpy, I'm not going to mirror that. I'm going to overpower it.
Well, maybe grumpy, but if they're
No,
more sort of serious and sober minded, you're probably not going to do
absolutely.
the wave, right?
Well,
Okay.
but
You
yeah.
might, yeah. Uh, so something I heard from each of you was a mention of team and sort of communication from the team, between the team and the patient. So how much do you rely on, go with you, Suzanne, how much do you rely on scripting and or role playing to prepare the team for those conversations?
That is my jam. Role play is my jam. So, literally, when I'm hiring, I told you this, Jason, when I hire and I'm interviewing people who want to come and work with us, I say, if you do not want to role play, you are not a fit for this practice. If
Mm.
you don't want to role play, we role play everything. And because you will not, it's hard to feel comfortable. You think you will, but then patients say certain things and you're not ready for it. So we do a lot of scripting with care. So the team knows what to say. They know they kind of have to get in and out because I've got to get in there. And
Mhm.
and so they have a list. So that makes it very easy. They know they have to be smiling, welcoming, and thank you so much for coming to our practice. We do have some questions before Dr. Tai walks in. Can we please go ahead and go over that? And they just go through it quickly. They're not trying to get into it and they're smiling, so they're kind, but it's not, let me just get to know you. It's boom, boom, boom. Let me get these things to you so I can get to Dr. Tai. And then as far as scripting, that's where it goes. It's not that much scripting. Really, in my consult, my whole goal is to get connected with the patient. So I have my team, they will come in, they will have their backs turned like opposite, and they will be typing away because I've tried it where they're sitting next to me and this is what's happening. The patient's doing this nonstop and they are
Mm.
not focusing. So they have their backs turned either on the side or on behind. It just depends which practice we're at, where they're located at, but they're not looking at the patient. They're just typing away while I'm talking. and then I can get really engaged with the patient and really find out why they're here. So there are definitely
Hmm.
patients who don't even know why they're here. And I'll ask, I
Hmm.
was like, do you know why your cardiologist sent you? Dr. So-and-so sent you. And they'll say, I have no idea. I think he's just trying to check off a box. And so at that point, I'll say, you know what? You are so lucky to be going with the cardiologist that you're with because they really do care. You know, he's worried about your heart. He doesn't want to have you have a heart attack or have AFib again. So let me kind of
Hmm.
explain why that might be. And that's what I just find out when my team comes back. One of the questions is, why are they here? And I will ask the team, what did they say? And I will prepare everything in my head when I walk in to go over those points. So I just have
Hmm.
everything ready and the success, always success has to be in there. What does the patient feel would be successful for treatment? And I will always make sure to cover that when I'm in the consult.
Sure. I really like that you've got your team member sort of, out of the picture taking those notes so that it's not a distraction. You are able to focus solely on the patient. Alicia, do you have someone when you're doing consults taking notes in there as well?
No, I have an
Uh,
AI system instead.
Alicia.
What? Can you hear me?
Okay.
We're good? Okay. So I don't use another person. We use a AI system called Freely. And so when the patient comes in, I press record and we're free just to talk, the two of us. And it kind of like Susan, the same thing. The very first question is, why are you here? What's your number one concern? But my script is always the same. Hi, I'm Licia. I'm here to get to know you a little bit. We're going to go over your sleep study and kind of go over your health history and maybe connect some dots. I'm going to show you these appliances. It is not rocket science. It's basic physics. So I'm going to show you how they work, show you some options that you have. Of course, we'll go over your insurance and see how that's going to help us out. And if everything's good to go, your suite awaits next door where we can get started today. But let's get started. So I say the same thing to every single person and go in that order so I don't forget. But you know, your wife kicked you out of the bedroom. That's why you're here, right? So they'll tell you in black and white what their motivation is. Like Susan said, I don't know why I'm here. Doctor sent me, you know? So which
I
doctor?
guess, and what's key there though is to listen,
Yeah,
right? I mean, you
yeah,
ask those questions, and then when they share those things, like I got kicked out of the bedroom, that should be a ping. That should
right.
resonate. And that's something you're going to center on then, right?
Absolutely, because that's what they care about, right?
Yes.
But if I do my job well and we kind of go over everything, they're like, oh my gosh, who knew my wife hitting me all night was
Mhm.
saving my life? Maybe
Yeah.
I should be thankful.
So we've got Dr. Ty, who you are doing the consults yourself. Licia, you're not a doctor and you're managing consults, but in some of your other practices, you've got everyone from PAs, you've got PAs doing it. But Michael, you're working again with countries, with dentists practices all over the country. Um, what are you typically seeing? Is
It
it is it a
depends. Yeah.
dentist or is it the team?
It depends on how busy they are. Usually, if we see a hybrid practice that's GP and sleep, a lot of that is the doctor running their normal schedule of hopping in and out. So they have a sleep champion that's usually handling a lot of that conversation. If we have someone who's in a scratch startup DSM practice and they have more time than patients, it's usually the doctor instead of a staff member. So it's kind of a
Okay.
hybrid. Um, in a scenario like what Licia and Suzanne are both dealing with, um, usually it's a staff member that starts that, and then there's a handoff at somewhere in the middle. So instead of like where Suzanne is spending the time connecting with the patient, identifying the chief complaint herself to build connection, most of our busier practices are starting with a team member and they've got a scripted handoff for what that chief complaint is, which is really their emotional pain point of what's motivating them to do something, why they show up
Mhm.
today in the first place.
Got it. one of the, well, not one of the most consistent question that came through had to do with objection or had to do with objections, and one in particular. Licia, I'm going to start with you on this one because before starting Go to Sleep, you owned a billing company, owned and operated a medical billing company. So you've seen this from multiple different angles. So the question is, basically, how do you discuss cost? How do you discuss insurance, especially when the patient has a high deductible and they haven't met any of it or much of it, and there's going to be a sizable out-of-pocket cost?
Mhm.
How do you talk about that, Licia?
Well, first of all, my attitude, and I've had to share this with my team because they kind of fell into this rut where they were looking at everybody's out of pocket before they came in. And they were basically saying, well, this one has to pay full fee, so they're probably not going to go through. And this one has to pay this, so they're probably not going to go through. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you guys doing? Sometimes I don't even look, right? Sometimes it's a surprise. So I'm serious. I'm like, let's take a look. Your insurance sucks. Like, they're not going to pay for a whole lot of this. Or, wow, you've got great insurance. So I never let any preconceived, you know, notions cloud my consultation. I want to give them all of my attention, and I want to treat them all like they're going to go through. So I said to my team, I said, you need to, mentally prepare for every single person going through, right? You need to mentally and physically, within the office, plan on every single person going through. And, sometimes the ones that had zero out of pocket, I send them out the door because the appliance isn't what they need. It happens. And then ones that have to pay full fee, I get them to upgrade, right? So how do I do it? I really don't spend a lot of time going, oh, it's really going to work. It's really going to be worth the money. Like, if they start to push back, if I say, well, your portion is 3,250. For this? Absolutely. If you're standing at a crossroad and you go this way and just, you don't spend the money and you don't take care of it, and now you end up with a stroke, and you wake up and you go to grab your toothbrush and your hand isn't working, or you go this route and you add another 10 years of vacations and fun life, would that money stop you? Like, if you could go back in time? So I'll say things like that, and really kind of hone back in on, overall, this is nothing to spend on your health. But sometimes the money really does stop them from doing it. And if they really want to, but they just can't do it, of course, I'm going to offer payment plans. I'll stretch it out. And hey, if it comes down to it, and I know the patient needs it, and they've got some coverage, or even if they don't, I'll say, you know what, it's on me. I believe in you. I believe that you need this therapy. And if money is stopping you, I'll take care of it. And sometimes they go, oh, they cry, oh my God, truly, they couldn't do it. And sometimes they're like, oh, that's not right. I'll figure something out. So
Mhm.
sorry for the
So
long answer, but
no, I appreciate it. I'm sure that someone is wondering, well, do you at least charge them the lab fee?
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but again, how many people, are in that situation? Not many.
Right.
Not many at
Right.
all, and how many people are they going to go, if I do that for them, how many other people are they going to send in? What are they going to say to the referring doctor? I'm going to get my money back tenfold. Just do the right thing.
Hmm. Just do the right thing. Uh,
Yeah.
Suzanne, Dr. Ty, how does what Licia shared differ from what you do, or what would you add to that?
I do think we're very similar in that. A lot of times I believe people are afraid to bring up the cost. When I say people, meaning team members, doctors, whoever. But if you believe in what you do, then there's no reason to be afraid. They we give a great service, and after you've made that connection, the patients can see it. They feel it. They feel that you do care and that you're really valuing them. When I say my price, I'll say it and I will not flinch. I will not be like, I'm sorry, or
Mhm.
I won't say
Yes.
sorry for sure, but I won't be like, it's this price. No, I just flat out say it. But what I do is I always put
Mhm.
everything, I'll say, our whole oral appliance therapy consists of the custom fit oral appliance, consists of our visits, also our home sleep test titrations, but you still need to go back to your sleep position for the efficacy study, but this is titrations to find the positioning for your appliance. Also the morning repositioner and a 3-year warranty. All this is under medical, it's not dental. And so for medical, your out of pocket is this. We could go two ways. We could go insurance or cash. With insurance, if you do insurance, you might have to have this particular appliance because insurance has their rules. And it might take a little longer because we have to go through pre-authorization, but this is what this is. Or we could go cash. You can choose whatever appliance you'd like, and we'll go from there, and everything's covered. And so I say that, and then I don't give them the option of, would you like to go move forward with this appliance? It's, would you like to pay cash or insurance? That's what I say. And those are their
Mhm.
options. And that's what they
Mhm.
go with. But like Licia
Ah,
said, if there are people who really cannot do it, I can see that they're in my heart, my team knows my heart, just like I feel so sad because I know they need it so badly. Then I would be like Licia, there are definitely very few, like Licia said, not many people do this. And I may either, like she said, it's not often, but I might give it to them for free, or I will say, I will make whatever happen. What can you put anything down? We could make it 24 months of payment, whatever we need to do. So I'll do
Mhm.
whatever I can to make it happen. If it's third party financing, break it half to half. But I don't discuss that unless I really see that they cannot do it. So when I
yeah.
present the price, I say the power of the pause is everything. You just stay
Yes.
quiet. You don't act
Yeah.
like, well, we can add this finance or we can do this third. I don't do that. I'm just quiet and I just let them because you can see their head
Yeah.
is spinning. They're thinking, how do I make this happen? What do I do? And it feels uncomfortable in the beginning. And you
Mhm.
just sit there and you just look at them and it feels like an eternity sometimes. And then
Sometimes
finally
I'll
they'll
just
say,
turn and do some notes while they're
oh yeah.
thinking.
You just
Yeah.
don't exactly while they're thinking. And then
Hmm.
finally they'll say, well, actually, do you have any payment plans or what can you do? Can we pay half? They will make up their own ideas on what to do. And a lot of times
Yeah.
they'll say, okay, yeah, sure. That's what I do.
Excellent.
Love it.
Uh, yeah, Michael, what what piece of advice, what tip would you give to people that are on tonight to help them with that financial discussion? What have you seen work well?
Well, Elias did plug your book in the chat. So people, if they haven't actually purchased your book, that's a mistake. Um, Not just to be nice to you, but seriously, if you guys haven't purchased Transform Down Sleep, you need to. Um, that
Thank
said,
you.
yeah, I think that what I hear as a coach, I do this to your point, Jason. I do this all the time, but I'm not the one with the patient. I'm working with the doctors. So to hear
Mhm.
Licia lay down what she did and Suzanne what she did, what I'm hearing is actually the psychology and the cracks between the conversation, the reason for the pause, all of that. And I think that we just need to be real with ourselves that we inject a lot into the patient's perspective that oftentimes is not there. To Licia's point about the team looking at the out of pocket and mentally going, okay, well, 5 out of the 8 that are scheduled are probably going to move forward because like we need to stop that. And
Run your
honestly,
business. Yeah.
and separate from just the perspective and not to beat the team up, I think we need to be real with ourselves too. Most humans have an aversion to what they think is sales until
Mhm.
they've read or learned from a different source other than a used car salesman or someone that took advantage of someone they knew when they didn't need that thing. That
Mhm.
sales is life, sales is communication. And the most effective communication that we can have with people in this circumstance to the treatment they need
Mhm.
is the most beneficial, helpful thing we could possibly do.
Yeah.
So we just can't, I mean, Maxwell's law of the lid. Like we will inject that limitation on ourselves and then project it on the patients. We just have to be careful with that
Mhm.
and role playing like what Suzanne does, learning, Licia, like what you guys have done in your practice over the years, we will grow out of that
Yeah.
and be able to communicate effectively beyond what our personal budget is or what our personal, perspective would be so that we're
Sure.
only serving the person in front of us.
Yeah, something that you mentioned there was sales, Michael. I know talking with zillions of dentists over the years that many view that as a bad word, right?
Sure.
Sell is a four-letter word, and the reality is all you're doing is you're transacting this life-saving treatment. I'm going to give you this, and it costs this.
Mhm.
So that that's what we're doing here. And if you want to call that selling, if you want to call that positioning, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. And Dr. Ty and I remember we were at it was after a SomnoMed conference a couple years ago, and we were waiting for our respective flights at the airport. And I think it was actually the first time we had met.
It was.
And we were talking, and she was telling me about her practice and how successful they are, how many patients they treat. And she said, "But really, this is easy. This, anyone can do this." And I said, "You're wrong, because you know everyone can learn about these devices. Everyone can learn about these different home sleep testing pathways. But what separates you, Licia, and you, Dr. Ty, from all of these other practices. I mean, you could probably throw a baseball and hit 10 other dental offices, uh, within a stone's throw. But what separates you from all of them is your ability to communicate. And as a result of your ability to communicate, to develop those interpersonal relationship skills, to cultivate rapport with people, you're able to sell that. And it's not phony. You're some of the three of you are three of the most sincere, genuine humans I know, and you truly just want to help these people so that they can sleep better, so they can live longer and healthier lives. And for everyone that's on here tonight, that's what I'm assuming except for the couple of you that said you're just here for the CE. The rest of you, that's why, yeah, that was a jab. Uh, it's called snark.
Not a four-letter word.
But I'll sell it to you. But that's why you're here. So you've got to get comfortable having these conversations. And initially, or probably why you're here, is because you've had these conversations and it's been a little uncomfortable when you have that discussion about money and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't afford it." And you start worrying about, you start putting your brain into their wallets, going, "Oh, well, they probably can't afford that. I saw the car they pulled up in, and all this stuff." But like Dr. Ty said, you see the wheels turning and they start positing these solutions. Well, what if I did this? Well, what if I did that?
Mhm.
Um, no, we're not going to take your plasma, but yes, we can work out a 6-month payment plan.
Yeah.
Um, but you've got to get comfortable having those conversations. And also, I'm sorry, I don't want to steal all of your spotlight, but just for a moment, this is why it's so critical, script and role play, as you mentioned, you do so much, Dr. Ty, because these conversations, they're so fluid in your mind. Oh, and then I'll say this, and they'll say that, and then I'll say this, and it's going to be great. And
Mhm.
then you have the conversation, and that's not what it sounds like, right? But when you practice it, which also feels uncomfortable, it's unnatural, but you're going to find these things where it's like, oh, this segue is a non sequitur. Oh, I'm saying too much here. Oh, this is where I should pause. And if you're serious about helping more people, treating more patients, and making more money doing it, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable having those conversations and practicing it, role playing it with your spouse, in front of the mirror with team members, do it. Because I think it was Churchill said something like, there's the presentation you prepared to give, the one you actually gave, and the one you thought you gave. And they're three very different things. And the more that you can prepare and role play those things, the more that those will be aligned. So I'm off my soapbox. Let's jump back into objections. Licia, mentioned uh, prospective patients getting kicked out of the bed. So one of the questions that a few people asked was, how do you address the objection? Let me talk to my spouse about it. I'll think about it. Let me talk to my husband. Let me talk to my wife. Uh, Husband or wife, they're not in a throuple, or even if they are, and they've got to ask their husband and wife. But how do you address that, Licia?
Great question. Well, number one, if I go get the patient in the waiting room and there is a spouse with them, they're coming back. I'm not leaving a spouse out in the waiting room. I'm always bringing them back. And the one time that I didn't, he's like, no, no, no. And she was like, no, I don't really think I need to spend the money on this. Da, da, da. I said, hold on. I'm going to go get your husband, because I want to make sure when you guys talk about this after you leave that he's got all the information. And I went, grabbed and brought him in, and I'm like, this is what, we need to do. And, she's thinking about it. Why are you thinking about it? You're doing this. You're not leaving without it. So if they're there, bring them. When you call to confirm, let them know your spouse, your bed partner, whoever is invited to come with you. We always have two, and then we'll bring in more chairs if needed. So having them there in person, really valuable. If it's, I need to check with my wife, she handles the bills. I'm like, oh, well, let's see if we can get a hold of her now. Because if you're snoring and you're here because she wants you here and you leave without taking your scans, you might be in big trouble.
You big dummy.
Yeah, and I'll say, do you want me to be here? I can talk with him or her. And, hi, it's Licia, hey, welcome to the consult. Sorry you couldn't make it today. So I will always offer to get them on the phone, for me to be there and talk with them, or, hey, I'll give you some privacy. I'll close the door. I don't know if I should say this, which means I should say it. I have that, so everybody's like, I have that software that's recording the whole conversation for medical transcripting. So when I leave and they're on their phone with their spouse, I can read what the conversation was. And usually it's just like, hey, is it okay if I do this? I know, we were going to do that. They're just talking about just some basic finances, right? Or, oh, it's a little bit more than we planned, but I think I should do it. So get them involved. Always never say, okay, well, go talk to them and then let us know. Try to always
keep it engaged and try to bring them into the conversation. What about you, Dr. Ty?
Don't be ashamed to do that.
Yeah. Do you bring them back as well when they're in the office?
So I do a lot of very similar things as Alicia. Great. I am actually, how I said I give a pre-video before the patient comes in. We do the video, we have a text. We say, please bring your spouse. We always say, please bring your spouse or bed partner before you come to the appointment. We'll say that. And if they come and their spouse cannot come or they're not there, when I walk in, I was like, oh, can we get your spouse on the phone? So I have them on FaceTime because there's things I'm showing, I'm presenting, so they'll be there also. And a lot of the times, when the spouse is in there on FaceTime or in the room, they'll say, well, yeah, she snores. And she'll say, well, you snore. And he's like, well, this is not my consult. And then she says, and I said, absolutely correct. This is your consult. Perfect. But as I'm describing the comorbidities and the symptoms, so often does the husband say, you know what? I think I'd like to test myself, and I'd like to see if I can come in, go through this as well. So that's a great thing. But I usually tell the patients, I'll say, I'd love to have your husband or wife in here because, I'm going to speak a lot, and there's going to be a lot of things we discuss, and we're not going to remember all of it. But it's really important for them to know what you're going through. I'm sure you're so tired, you don't mean to be this way, but it's good for them to understand what you're going through. And so they'll say, yeah, sure. So they'll grab them, husband and wife. And if not, just like Licia says, if they say, well, I need to talk to my husband or my wife about the finances, or I need to talk to them, perfect. Can we go ahead and get them on right now? And normally I will just go very quickly over what we did. And then that's very similar to what Licia said. And if they can't get on the phone and they're not going to be in the room and they say, I need to talk to my wife or husband, I'll say, perfect. I completely understand. Remember, if there's any questions you have, please feel free to ask me right now. But what we should do, or what we could do, if oral appliance is still what you're thinking about, let's go ahead and get your scan. We won't send it off. We'll get the scan and then talk to your wife and husband. And how long do you think you need? Oh, 2 days? Okay, we're going to go ahead and call you in 2 days because we don't want to hold the scan if you're not going to do it. But also, we need to report back to your doctor. So in 2 days, will you please just tell us if you're going to go with CPAP or surgery or oral appliance or Inspire? We just want to be able to connect with the doctor and let them know what you've decided. And that's what we
Yeah,
say.
that's great. So you've
Great.
still you've still secured a commitment from them. And you've
Yes,
set an expectation on a follow-up time. Yeah, that's
that's
great.
right.
Speaking of commitment, I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner tonight, but I know where all four of us will be in January. So I want to take a quick moment, and I promise it'll be quick, to talk about the upcoming Transform Dental Sleep Symposium. It is in Scottsdale, Arizona, January 30th and 31st. You see a few familiar faces up on your screen right now. You're not seeing double. They're both speaking at the Transform Dental Sleep Symposium and on this webinar as panelists. That's just a few of the speakers there. We've got everyone from industry insiders like Michael to dedicated dental sleep practitioners like Dr. Ty. We've got sleep physicians like Dr. Criado and Dr. Lown and Dr. Singh. These are people that aren't just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. They've got very busy sleep practices, and they're going to share openly with you how they do what they do. So I encourage all of you to join us. It's January 30th and 31st in Scottsdale. And don't just register for that, though. Come a day early because there's a few of the speakers and some of the topics that they're going to talk about. But come a day early because on Thursday, January 29th, we've got three different workshops. One of them is focused on marketing for sleep practices. Another centers on medical billing for sleep practices. And finally, our friends at ProSomnus will be unveiling a brand new innovation, a brand new product, a brand new device that will be available. And they're going to talk about how it works, why it works. It is truly a novel device. And they're going to have everyone from Dr. Sal, who is an ENT, and also Licia as medical director, to Dr. Kent Smith there presenting about that novel treatment. So you don't want to miss that. But this is, I just want to reiterate, underline, underscore, bolster the fact that this is the day before the symposium kicks off. So it's January 29th. It's Thursday. This does require a separate registration and additional registration. Uh, it's limited to only 35 attendees. So each of these workshops are. So make sure you secure your spot, but that allows for a really intimate learning experience. So be there. Michael, Licia, Suzanne, you've each been there the past couple of years at the symposium. You're coming again. Good use of your time, Michael.
Outstanding. I mean, learning things and being a vendor, meeting people, hanging out. The energy is very different at your meeting than any other meeting that we go to. So it's awesome. Don't miss it.
Suzanne, Licia, anything you want to add to that? The energy, it's awesome. Don't miss it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alicia.
So last night I was at dinner with Stacy, who's on the screen right now, my partner, dentist, And we were with a cardiologist and some guys from sleep testing. Eddie was there, Dr. Saul. And this cardiologist was saying, like, what are some good meetings we could all go to? And everybody's just kind of spitting out some meetings. And the guy from the sleep test company goes, I'll tell you what the best one is. And I'm like, what? He's like, transform. And I'm like, yeah, hello. So I'll be buying his ticket to come because it's so important that he comes and just really sees what we're doing, the innovative work that we're doing. And your meeting's just bar none the most fun and the most informative for people like us that are in the trenches and getting the work done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Suzanne, you're going to be speaking this year for the first time at Transform. But the focus of this meeting, yes, it's a ton of fun, but the focus is really on pragmatism. It is on we like to have dynamic speakers that are actually doing the thing, talking about how they do the thing, not at some high level where it's this abstraction, but the nuts and bolts. Here is how you do this so that you can take that and put it into practice. And I always say, and I believe this, that if you put just 10% of what you learn at this meeting into practice, you will become more efficient, you will grow, you will enjoy your career more. So come to the meeting. I'll shut up about it. But another great meeting that,
Actually, Jason, I know where we're
yes,
going, but I got to say one more thing about TDS.
yes.
Every coaching client that we have either gets a full ride or a partial ride scholarship to this event. And it's the only other event outside of our own that we do that for. That's how
Hmm.
important this is.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
thank you.
yeah.
And you
And
don't even give me a discount on the tickets.
no, I don't. Girl, you got money. Uh,
I do. I do
yeah,
have the
but
money.
but
He
but
really doesn't.
speaking of meetings, frankly, I've been going to dental sleep meetings for the last 20 years, and most of them, um, I'm just going to socialize really because they're boring.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, kind of either 101 dental sleep medicine 101 information, or it's academia. And we try to put together TDS to be antithetical to that. And another meeting that I'm going to for the third time, and I'm actually looking forward to, is Michael's Pivot Master class. The emphasis is on camaraderie and business. So it's the business of dental sleep medicine. It's not some like swarmy, smarmy thing where it's like one of these meetings where you feel like you're at a timeshare, but it's really on here's how you take your dental sleep practice and take it to the next level and grow it as a business. So that's coming up September 26th and 27th. I'm looking forward to being there for the third time. Michael, you want to take a few seconds to tell everybody why they should come and how to get registered?
Yeah. You know how to use your phone with a QR code because we all went through COVID and looked at menus at restaurants. So please do that. That's how you register. I mean, frankly, it's a lot smaller than TDS. I don't know anybody other than Jason that wants to throw the biggest, awesomest party of the year for dental sleep medicine. We don't. Um, we've got 75 folks that come to this, attendees, most of them doctors. We actually only have 4 seats left for our entire event. So if you're actually thinking about coming, I would recommend checking out that QR code on the screen and grab one of the last 4 rooms that we have available on the block. We'd love to have you there. But if you're not serious about sleep and you're just kind of dabbling, I would encourage you to go to Jason's event. If you really want to take it to the next level, this is before TDS, come to both because you're serious about it. This is smaller. We'll help you implement. Everybody walks out with an actual game plan for their practice. We'd love to see you there. Oh, and it's on Coronado Island in San Diego, so there's that too.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to be in late September. So
Yeah.
get signed up for the master class. Let's dive back in. Uh, Dr. Ty, can you guarantee this thing's going to work for me? I mean, that's a lot of money, and I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, I would love to guarantee this, but nothing in health is guaranteed. You go to get surgery. Do you guarantee you're going to come out walking, running? No. So unfortunately, the body's multifactorial, and I can't guarantee that it'll work, but I do guarantee this. We will do everything we can to make it as successful for you as possible. So if something's bothering, if your tooth's hurting, if your jaw's hurting, please come. The way that we can do this is communicate with us. Don't just say this didn't work and just quit. No, we're here to be with you every step of the way. So when you need us, you call us. We will come in, we will go over everything. And sometimes we need outside help. Sometimes it's the fact that you don't breathe through your nose, or there's other things that could happen. And we will send you to the resources and to the specialists that need to help you to make this as successful as possible. But no, I'm so sorry. I cannot guarantee the treatment.
Hmm. Licia, what do you say different there, or what's kind of your silver bullet?
Um, so my first answer is no, same thing. We can't guarantee it. Now there's a good chance it'll work, but there's 70% chance, the math is 70% chance that it will work with no problems. And then there's that 30%. And I can tell you who is part of that 30%. Number one, you don't wear it, right? So I can't guarantee that you're going to wear it every night. And if you don't wear it, it won't work. Number two, how about your oxygen? Are we able to stabilize your airway, but we still can't get enough oxygen? So like Suzanne said, we can talk to the pulmonologist. Can we do supplemental oxygen? So there's some other things that we can do. And the third one is, how is your airway collapsing? That's kind of the unknown. We don't know. Is it collapsing like this and we can move the jaw out and we've got enough space to keep it? It should work. Is it circumferential? Is it like a camera lens? So if it's doing that, we don't know. And you might be a non-responder. So, another factor is weight too. So if someone's thin, if it's a thin old lady, it should work for her. But if they're overweight, they've got weight around their neck, they've got a large tongue, buccal fat pads, I will tell them, you're overweight. And
Mhm.
we're going to have to really move that jaw open to maintain that airway. And if it doesn't work for you, you might have dual therapy. And then if we can lose some weight, it'll work better as you lose some weight. So,
Yeah, so
again,
what I'm
it's
hearing is Lisa, you go into a little more of the clinical detail, uh,
Mhm.
why it may not work.
Yeah.
Suzanne, yours is a little different, but what you're both doing, I think, is you're setting expectations. You're both essentially saying, I can't guarantee it, but we're going to, and here's why it might not work, Licia, in your example, and Dr. Ty, in your example, but here are the things that we're going to do to, walk in lockstep with you through this process and do everything we can to maximize the possibility it's going to work. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. The bag of tricks. We've got a bag of tricks that, before we give up, we're gonna try.
Yeah. Michael, when coaching your clients, I mean, what's the what advice do you give them there?
I mean, these guys pretty much said it.
Mhm.
I would also say I think we can't be cute and say, well, what do you mean by work? Because now we're toast, right? Now
Yeah.
we're slimy. At the same time, if we can ask ourselves that question, why are they asking this? And
Yeah.
what are they actually expecting? Are you expecting to get better and have improvement? Yes, we reach maximum medical improvement with every single one of our patients because we're committed to that. Now, some of those, and then go into what Licia just shared, 30% of those, either they don't wear it, they
Yep.
need additional support, or it's an oxygen related component. In those
Yeah.
cases, as long as you're on board, this will help and may need another therapy, another specialist, but we have this network of specialists that we work with. You are in good hands, and this is the next step. I'm
Yep.
fully committed to getting you there. And
Yep.
that's connecting back to their emotional pain point. That I think
And
that level of commitment and just framing it slightly different, more in the medical realm, versus
Mhm.
does it work or not work? That's a no disrespect. That's a very dental term that doesn't primarily exist in medicine. If patients ask that, you get spouted statistics and studies, and yes, this works for the predominant population, and it should work for you. Next,
Yeah,
go do what I
yeah,
told you.
yeah, yeah. Uh, you mentioned wearing it, Michael. How's this for a segue? There are several questions about wearables. So, and you at one point owned or a home sleep testing company, and you're a techie dude. So, what about these patients that say, my watch says I'm sleeping fine. I don't need this thing. Um,
Yeah.
how should practices address that?
Well, if you're going to give some snark, you just let them know that their watch will also notify their doctor and their spouse that their heart has stopped.
Oh,
So,
Hmm.
if you're going with less snark, there's definitely there's a difference in consumer grade versus medical grade technology and monitoring equipment. Obviously, we have hospital grade pulse oximeters. You have the consumer grade ones that are in an Apple Watch. Doesn't mean they're inaccurate. It means they measure different things in different frequencies. And my question is, do you want to trust your entire health to a device that you bought at an Apple store or a Garmin? It's awesome. It's the best one they've ever made. Ask them. Do you want to trust your life? Do you want to trust your marriage? If you do, then why are you here? Because
mm,
then we circle back to why they're actually present in an appointment because they have this issue and they're being resistant. I would
mhm,
really dig down into what they're resisting because saying that they're fine because of a wearable is the symptom, it's not the core issue.
mm. Okay. Um, Licia, have you been getting objections around that more recently?
No, typically they'll say, "Well, I've got this watch, and let me show you on my app," and I'm like, "Oh, let's look at it," you know. So ooh,
They
this
start
is a
scrolling through their photos.
yeah. And oh, your girlfriend just texted
You
me. Your
shouldn't have
wife's not gonna be
worn
happy
that.
about that. Yeah, you sure you don't want to get this? So, I mean, I'll entertain it for sure and say, obviously this is great that you're paying attention. So to me, somebody that has a wearable is somebody that's paying attention to their health and they care about their health. So I think it's a good thing. And sometimes I'll go, well, let's really dive deep into this sleep study where we're going to get a little bit more information than what your watch is giving you. So, again, kind of being a chameleon and mirroring what they're interested in.
Mhm.
I'll do that. And I just want to make 2 points. One is
Please.
when they walk into the office, they made the appointment. I mean, for me to make an appointment is a pain in my tuchus, right? For me to take time out of my life. So when
That
they,
was for Elias.
yeah, tuchus, for them to take time, just make the assumption that they're there because they want what you're selling.
Mhm,
Right. And we all love to buy things. So if they're walking in the office, that's 90% of how much work it took to get them there. You just got to take them over to the edge. The ones that get really combative, like that's a lot of money, is that even going to work for me, and they get kind of rude about it. A sales tactic I have is I take the financial agreement that I just put in front of them with the pen, and I take it and I slide it back, and I'm like, oh, you know okay. And then they'll physically be like, well, so I'll take it away from you. Maybe we're not a good fit. Maybe you should go try that CPAP, or why don't you try that CPAP again? Or you know what? I've got your wife on the line or the ENT on the line ready but just that physical, like, okay, I'm not pushing you to move forward. I'll
mhm,
I'll take it back. And then they'll physically lunge for it. Like, no, I didn't say that. Where do I
mm.
sign?
Got it.
It
Got it.
works. It
Yeah.
works.
So we're out of time right now. I want to be
No.
mindful of check it. We've
Cool.
still got several other questions, but I want to be mindful of all of our attendees' time, and I want to be mindful of your time. You've shared so freely with us tonight, all your time, your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience. So thank you. Alicia, I know you don't have anything going on. Dr. Ty, Michael, as long as people are willing to hang out with us, so you guys, are y'all okay with another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Sure.
Great. Yeah. And for those, the couple of you that are here just for the CE, you've been here for the hour, you can jump off now and
Sign
go
off,
back, go
buddies.
back to your cave. But for the rest of you, uh, let's let let's keep it moving. Uh, oh yeah, let me actually before we dive into the rest of these questions, let me give another quickie commercial. Our next webinar is in a couple weeks. It's September 9th. It's with Dr. Jameson Spencer. And it is the most exciting advance in the history of TMD and why sleep dentists like yourselves should care. So it's same time, 2 weeks from today, September 9th, when you get that email from us with your CE certificate, it will have a video with the replay of tonight's session, as well as a link to register for that webinar. So be sure you sign up and join us. Dr. Spencer is, in my opinion, sorry, y'all, but the best lecturer in the field of dental sleep medicine. This is a very, TMD is a very complex topic, and he has an innate ability, a practiced ability, actually, to simplify those complex concepts. So join us for that. And then a reminder to go to TDS Symposium or scan that big ass QR code to get registered for TDS. What I didn't mention earlier, and I just wanted to tell you real quick, is that we blocked the entire hotel. Uh, we've got discounted rates, but once those are sold out, we have to send you to an overflow hotel. We had a few dozen people that had to stay at the overflow hotel a couple miles away last year. Don't let that be you. Um, you'll save a couple $100 a night. Get registered, book your hotel. We'll see you in Scottsdale. But I hope to see you beforehand in San Diego at the Pivot Masterclass. We don't have your slide up again, Michael, but can you just tell everybody the link to go to? What's the URL?
Yep. Awaken to sleep number 2.com/masterclass.
Great. Go there. I'll be there, and then I'll see you in San Diego, and then again at TDS. Without further ado, though, let's dive back in. Um, Dr. Ty, actually, you know what? There's a specific question for you. Question for Dr. Ty. Do you have a hybrid practice or have you pivoted to sleep only? When you did have a dental and a sleep practice, did you find yourself diagnosing patients with OSA? No, you can't diagnose. And if yes, which no, were you able to help convert them? Meaning, I guess, you know what I think they're asking really is, were you able to identify patients in the chair as being at risk and then move them through the process to eventually get diagnosed and ultimately get an oral appliance when appropriate? Did you
Absolutely.
have good fortune with that?
It was tough. I'll be honest. It was tough because when I have patients in every single room and I see something, yes, my hygienist can help me because they're like, okay, I see he grinds a lot. There's tori, things like that. And so, yes, I will come in and confirm what I see. However, it was tough because I wanted to talk to them and I've got this earpiece in my ear and everybody's like, I need you in room 2, room 3, room 4. And so
And you only had 3 rooms. It was
that's
crazy.
right. Exactly. Exactly, right? And so if I did, then we would have them come a different day to have a consult about sleep. But it's for me, it was difficult. Now, other people can do this amazingly well. For me, it was difficult because I do like to connect with the patient. I like to talk to them. And so I did transition to sleep only. It really happened when I found the associate of my dreams, and she's amazing. And she just took it on, and everybody loves her. And that's when I felt like I could really do sleep only. And I
Mhm.
love sleep. I go literally, I say this story all the time. My husband always knows when I have a sleep day or a dental day because I was separating into sleep days and dental days. And I'd come home and the dental days, I'm like, and sleep days, I look, all nice and thin on my sleep days, and I come in smiling. So it was difficult. But I think it can be done. I mean, we see them that other practices can do it. I think going to awaken to sleep will help you figure that out really well. I just truly, but for me, it was difficult to transition that way. I had to find someone to take over my dental practice. And remember, don't, if I was going to say anything, don't, like, definitely separate your team. Like, don't take your dental team to create it, to make them do sleep team. They're so busy as it is. And it's hard to
Mhm.
transition. So have a separate dental team, a separate sleep team. But at my practice, yes, we have a 3,000 square foot building. Half the building is dental and half the building is sleep. But they're two completely separate entities, two completely separate teams, separate, I mean, everything. It's just it's like if someone decided to pay rent on that right side. That's what I took
Mhm.
over.
Got it. Got it. Licia, how do you, when consulting with a patient, how do you create an appropriate sense of urgency um, without, sort of sending the patient into panic mode, especially someone who's got some objections? You mentioned earlier that, and Michael cutely said, everybody's going to know when you're dead from your watch or whatever. But I mean, really
Oof.
though,
Yeah.
but Lisa, yeah, Michael's he can be a little rough around the edges.
Yeah,
But
he's a
Lisa,
little.
but how do you how do you create that sense of urgency and get them to really buy into the importance of moving forward when it is important?
Well, and that's the key. Is it important? I'm very um, upfront and honest with the patient. If I see their oxygen, I saw one today, oxygen went down to 72. I said, when I see this, this is when I have to look you in the eyes and tell you that you're headed for a stroke or heart attack. Like it's on your path if you don't treat this. And I don't have to say that to everybody. And they might be 30 years old. I said it today to somebody who was in his 30s. I said, when a 30-year-old has a stroke, we always go, do they have apnea? So I'm very, blunt, like Michael and Suzanne are. If they just snore and they're not going to die in their sleep, I will say, you snore, you're not going to die in your sleep. Now you're going to die. I don't know how. It is probably not because of his apnea. You could get hit by a bus walking out of the office. That's karma. No, I won't say that. But I will say, you're here because you're snoring and, your husband or your wife. But when I've gone over the sleep study, if they're saying no, it's because I've already gone over the sleep study. So I can kind of harken back to that and say, no, you're not going to die in your sleep. But every single time you have one of these events, you're getting pulled out of your sleep cycle, and it compounds and it compounds and it compounds. And this might be how you feel. This might be your normal, and you might get treated and go, oh my gosh, this is what regular people who don't have apnea feel like when they wake up. So,
Mhm.
just because it's not going to kill you doesn't mean your quality of life, waking up refreshed. I call it the ping. Do your eyes ping open, like ping, I'm ready to take on
Mhm.
the day? Or you're like,
Sure.
hitting
Yeah.
the snooze button.
Good snooze. Yeah.
Um, so, again, just kind of pinpointing what their pain button is, but
Mhm.
I'm very honest, you know?
Yep. Yeah. That goes a long way. Michael, kind of in closing here,
Yeah.
what silver bullet, what one pearl on the topic of communication would you want to impart on everybody here tonight?
The one thing I wanted to say earlier, and just we segued and I didn't have a chance, is we need to oppose our patients a lot less than we think, even when we're right. If we can understand when they say something, instead, when they say, oh my gosh, this is so expensive, you're absolutely right, but you're worth
Yeah.
it. I learned that from Licia the first time you taught at masterclass. Um, but that just knowing, being able, like water can pack a punch when it has to. but when it's hit, it just moves right out of the way. So in order for us to be the most effective, we can receive whatever the patient says, be able to agree with that, or at least hear that to where they feel heard and it's received. And now we can go back to our shoulder to shoulder communication about collaborating, looking at this thing. How are we going to fix it? Instead of you need to do this, that can turn from connection to confrontation very quickly.
Yeah.
As
That would be my
Bruce Lee
2 cents.
said, be like water.
Mhm.
Dr. Ty, what's your silver bullet pearl that you want to impart on, leave everybody with tonight?
Wow. I really liked Michael's. Can I just have Michael's? That was really good. Gosh, the main listen, really listen. I can't stress how much what I mean by listening, because if you listen and the patients, they will tell you what you need to tell them to have them get the treatment that they absolutely need. Truly, if you listen
Mhm.
really well, they'll tell you why they came. Also, look at body language a lot. If you're talking and you see them start to look away, stop talking. Literally, I will just pause and then they'll come back to me.
Mm.
And that's one of the biggest things. Just listen really, really well. And I know I wish I could explain that more, but it's when a patient is talking about certain things, they will have stories or they'll say, yeah, my friends or my coworker's wife just died. She was only 36. And we'll go through a whole thing. And of course, I'll always bring it back. You know, you don't want to be like the wife. And so listening, following what Michael said, stop objecting when they say something and we don't necessarily agree, agree. We do. Like I completely understand. I get what you're saying. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Excellent. And Licia, what's your fortune cookie piece of wisdom for everybody tonight?
Well, agree with the two of you with everything that you've said. Um, back to sales being a bad word. Am I allowed to swear just a little bit,
No,
Jason?
nope.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Elliot. People like to buy shit. We're consumers. We're consumers. We're consumers. People work hard so they can buy things that they want. A crackhead will always be able to get their crack, right? It's so if you do a good job making sure. See,
Thanks
it's
everybody for being
6:13.
here tonight.
I was going to
Yeah.
be good till 6.
Yeah.
I'm good till 6
Uh,
and then after. But no, people are going to buy what they want. And so if you make sure that they want what you're selling, people are happy to buy it and they will find the money and help them find the money. And if they can't, give it away.
yep.
Give it away.
We're gonna help
So
people. Mhm.
stop opposing them. Listen. And selling is not a four-letter word, but shit is. Uh, but really, thank you, Dr. Ty, Michael, Licia. Thank you for being here. I know you each just got off work. Michael, it looks like you're still at the office. So the fact that you've joined us tonight and shared so openly your time and your experience is we're so grateful. Elias and I are so grateful. And I know that most of our attendees are as well. And then to all of you that are here, again, keep an eye out. You'll get an email with your C certificate in the next couple days. Register for that next webinar. But thank you for being here. You have so much potential to take what you've learned tonight and put it into practice. And in doing that, really grow your practice, change your community, and change your business, grow your business. I mean, that's what you're here to do, right? You're here to help people and make money while doing it. If you apply what you've learned from Michael, Licia, and Dr. Ty tonight, you will achieve those goals. So thank you for being here. Your commitment is really laudable. We hope to see you on the next webinar. I hope to see you in San Diego at Michael's Pivot Masterclass. And you better get your asses to the Transform Dental Sleep
Sure.
Symposium. All right,
TDS.
everyone.
Go TDS, TDS,
TDS.
TDS.
All right.
Value the yes.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
There you
Give me
go.
a T. T. All right. I'll, I'll see y'all. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody. Have a great night. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye
Bye, Sue
bye.
Ellen. Oh,
Oh,
hey,
yeah. Oh, there she is.
girl.
I see her.
Hey, Sue.